Hey there guys, I've beaten Half Minute Hero the second coming, that ironically took me 13 hours, and it's great, it is a really fun game, much like the first one that I remember playing a lot on my PSP quite a while ago. However, the game itself is very different from its predecessor, while keeping the core concept in place. That I suppose is what a good sequel should do. In both games, the objective is quite simple, you have to save the world from destruction by defeating an evil lord in 30 seconds. The first game was essentially a parody of JRPGs, you start at level 1 and in 30 seconds you have to level up, acquire equipment and pay the goddess of time to reset the clock occasionally to make the whole process possible. It was basically a collection of minigames connected by a loose string that represented the plot. What we have now, however, is a complete RPG the first game was parodying, with mechanics borrowed from it. So, the main question is, which game is better, the first one or the sequel? And I personally think if two games are compared in their entirety, the sequel is better. But the hero part of the first Half Minute Hero is still my favorite out of both games. Kinda confusing, but let me explain. Half Minute Hero 1, in addition to the hero part, has the princess, evil lord and knight parts. Each of those is a separate mini-game that has to be beaten in 30 seconds. And that is where the first game really starts just dragging on and on. I love the hero part, it is a well-executed joke, great gameplay, funny humor and appropriate length. Everything that follows though feels really unnecessary. The second game doesn't do other mechanics and just focuses on the hero part, expands it, gives it a plot and variety that keeps your interest. Some things I didn't like though. First of all, the global level. Unlike the first game where you teleported from stage to stage, the second coming has a global map that you can freely roam. So in order to do that, a so-called global level was introduced. It is a level that you can increase as usual, and your level in game never goes lower than your global level. So while in Half Minute Hero 1 you started every stage with level 1, in the sequel you start with a global level, and it just makes the game easier and a bit boring. The whole final chapter is piece easy as a result of it. I spent like an hour trying to beat the demon maze, that I didn't do by the way because it's freaking hard and I can't be asked. But when I got sick of it, I was level 75, that allowed me to beat the final boss of the game without leveling whatsoever, not to mention that the items I managed to get in the demon maze are OP as hell. The introduction of global levels also kinda destroys the whole joke about playing an RPG in 30 seconds. That I feel is a shame. But then again, it is not what the second coming is about, so we have Half Minute Hero 1 for the joke. The second thing I hated is the arcadey elements. The game clearly wasn't built for them, but it has them for whatever reason. This bit with jumping on birds is fucking infuriating. The main problem is that the animation goes a bit faster than the game registers the tile these birds occupy, so the whole process becomes not a struggle against time, but against the game that has slower reactions than the player. And the third thing, I think the devs went a bit overboard with the story. There is just way too much of it. The gameplay is fast, precise action that stops from time to time to feed the player dialogue that takes more time to process than beating the last evil lord you fought. Even being able to read at decent speed, it was still a fucking drag. Overall, however, both games are great, and I would recommend playing them. They are just made to be fun, no bullshit, just fun. And they achieve that goal, not without drawbacks of course, but then again, there is no such thing as a perfect game. Thanks for watching guys, the name is GrrrVahrrr, and I shall see you from within my next video.